The most up-to-date Ooler Sleep System 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover. 7 criteria that I've broken down. The budget, Topper Impact, cooling performance, eliminate EMF, noise. This video is going to be a review comparison between the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover and the Ooler Sleep System made by Kryo ChiliPad. Heading into the second half of 2021, these are the newest versions of these products. There are other reviews out there. They are for the older technology. They're not up to date, and frankly, they don't cover the most important things for me. We have the most up-to-date products. They have gone through evolutions, so we're gonna be comparing the Ooler Sleep System using the Cool Mesh topper, which is their most up-to-date Ooler Sleep System they have, a King Wee setup, along with a Pod Pro cover perfect fit by 8 Sleep, again with the Pod Pro cover, not the actual mattress. And I'm gonna give you my breakdown of kind of the criteria and the ways that I wanna look at comparing these two products. The budget, Topper Impact, cooling performance, noise, technology, eliminate EMF, maintenance and longevity. All right, so number one, the budget. It's a close tie, it's pretty close. The 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover is gonna be slightly more expensive than the Ooler Sleep System. Now, I priced them out and compared the pricing if you were to get King Wee setups. When you look at the top end price, you're looking at $19.20 for the Pod Pro cover, perfect fit, which I recommend for probably most people, just so you're not dealing with that extra, it's $100 more for that, and you know it's gonna fit your mattress. Or you're looking at $16.99. So $1,920 versus $1,700 is the two differences in the products. But with the Ooler, you can just get a King Me, meaning you can get a mattress topper for just you and it covers half of the bed, and you can cut that price down to, I believe it's around $800 versus $2,000 is what you're gonna go for on this other one. So if you sleep on maybe half your side of your bed, or you wanna position it in the middle, and you are on a budget and your budget is say under $1,000, then the Ooler Sleep System is gonna be hugely advantageous there because you are not gonna spend nearly as much. You're gonna be able to get that option that you cannot get with 8 Sleep. So right off the bat, if that's a deal breaker, boom. Now for cooling performance, we've done tests on these with our individual review profiles. We are set at a temperature of 60 degrees on the actual Ooler Cube topper. We're getting about a 66 to 67. I am measuring the temperature surface here at the lowest setting for the 8 Sleep. And what I'm finding is it's around 64, 63 degrees, cooler than other toppers I've tested. My personal experience sleeping on them, also having people test them out and give me their opinion, is that both do cooling about the same. Some people might think that the Ooler is a little bit better. Some people might think that the 8 Sleep is better. Personally, I didn't notice much of a difference. I think that you're gonna get both. I will make a couple quick notes to this point. The 8 Sleep does use a bigger reservoir of water, so they have quite a bit more water in there to generate the temperature and to disperse the heat capacity while you're sleeping. That said, the way the technology works in the topper itself, you're still running tubules underneath you and you're circulating those. And so at the end of the day, with my Ooler Wee, I have 2 fans that are pumping out the temperature and dispersing it. And with the 8 Sleep, I have 1 pod kind of technology piece there that's doing it. In my experience, there is not a whole lot of difference there. On the Mattress Topper Impact, this is a kind of an interesting one for me because as I mentioned, had spent thousands of dollars. My mattress was like $5K from Macy's, and it was basically the best mattress they were selling. And I was like, I just liked it. It felt really good. And I know that I spent a lot of time sleeping and I wanted to have the best of the best. So I invested in that. And I don't want a topper that impacts that. Based on our footage, the Ooler has a pretty big edge here. I feel like the Chili topper is cooler, this one here. The other thing I'll notice is some people ask, can you feel this thing? Does it affect your mattress? You can feel the tubes, the cooling elements in the topper when you're laying on it, but it's very subtle. This is a lot going on here. So we're gonna have to see if this is actual, and there's a big, huge foam thing here. As I was unboxing the 8 Sleep, what I noticed was the material on this thing and the foam that was in this device and this topper is substantially thicker. There's a noticeable difference between the Ooler and the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover. Now, on top of that, I took the bottom part of the Pod Pro cover stuff out, so I limited the material. It wasn't much, but I took that bottom piece out to reduce that. And there is a foam part in the Pod Pro cover you could potentially remove. I just haven't done anything with testing that to see if that makes a difference. But I'm one of those people where I can get OCD about it, and for me, it matters. Now, I will say this, it's not gonna drastically change your bed. I'm talking about maybe like a 10% difference. So for most people, it's not gonna be noticeable. When I first moved from the Ooler to the Pod Pro, my back was a little sore the next day. It took me about 2 or 3 days to adjust, and now I sleep fine on the Pod Pro. Now, for some people, it's not even gonna be noticeable. For others of you, especially if you invested more in your mattress, you may not wanna alter that surface, and it may be a bigger deal. Noise. Noise is a big one, and it's pretty clear on this that the noise from the Pod Pro 8 Sleep is significantly lower than what you're gonna get with a ChiliPad or an Ooler Sleep System. The Ooler seems slightly quieter, where it's actually quieter than the ChiliPad, so you can kind of hear this running. It's a bit wider. I think the engine itself is built better. By and large, you're getting a soft white noise background sound when you run your Ooler units. With the 8 Sleep Pod Pro, you hear basically just a whisper. It's super quiet. They've done a lot on the technology side with that device, and it's quite impressive how quiet it is. You almost can't notice it. It really doesn't make much more noise than what you're hearing here. So in comparison to noise, if that's something that you don't really want to deal with, or it affects you and that's a big deal for you, then I would recommend the 8 Sleep, because you have a substantial edge there with the noise. I sleep with earplugs. White noise doesn't bother me. And so for me, it's not really a big deal breaker there. But it is nice to have something where it's just silent and it still works in terms of its cooling technology, quite the same. Number 5 is technology. The bare bones features of being able to adjust from an app the temperature of the device and the surface of your mattress. You have both of that with both of these toppers. But 8 Sleep also tracks your respiratory rate, your heart rate, and your breathing rate from the actual topper, and it develops and tracks that over trending data onto your app. And it's plugged into Wi-Fi. So you're getting a constant connection from your network on your home to your phone. Whereas Ooler, you get no sleep tracking. Now with Ooler, the cubes, you can connect them to a Bluetooth to your phone. They have an app, and you can program them to change temperatures throughout the night. So that is really nice. And that is one of the advantages both of these products have in the marketplace, where you're not just turning it on and letting it run at a certain temperature, but you're actually kind of emulating the temperature increase that you typically want to have throughout the night. So you kind of start a little cooler, maybe you drop a little cooler, and then you heat up as you warm up. You can do both of those. You can do that on both of these products. The 8 Sleep Pod Pro app, though, is going to give you much more information. It also has a built-in autopilot to decide what temperature you actually want to go at and how you want to adjust that. So it gives you more, and it has some automation in there. It's more user-friendly, and it's always connected on your Wi-Fi. So it does have some big advantages there. Personally, I sleep with an Oura Ring, which I think is the gold standard for sleep tracking. And then I've tested the Whoop band. You can see a review video we've done for Oura versus Whoop, and I really break down how those work and how they track you. But in my experience, the trends that you see, the 8 Sleep Pod Pro is excellent at tracking the trends, and it's done a good job in the weeks that I've tested the unit to track my information, and it match up pretty well with my Oura Ring. So it's doing a really good job of identifying these things. And I believe the founder and the whole team there are really passionate about tracking and biometrics and all of the information that they can get from people while they sleep to help that person optimize their sleep and their overall health and learn about how their health is. So from that perspective, you have a tremendous edge with the 8 Sleep Pod Pro, and you're seeing that in the price, in the way of the build, the form, the function of the product itself. So number 6 is EMF, and this is a tough one for me. It's almost a deal breaker. I am not a big anti-EMF person, but I do think when we sleep, we should try to really clean our environment, eliminate EMF. I have a bit of a cage under my bed. I don't have any devices that I charge in my bedroom when I'm sleeping, in my sleep area, in my environment. And unfortunately for the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover, you always have your Wi-Fi on. It's always connected to Wi-Fi, and the pod sits near your head. So when you think about EMF, it is logarithmic, meaning it's much more strong when your proximity to the Wi-Fi router or the device is higher. And with the 8 Sleep, you don't have an airplane mode. In fact, I've talked to the company and asked them if they have any plans to build this feature, and it's not even in the feature list from the people I've talked to. So that really bums me out, because that's probably the biggest deal breaker for me on this device. With the Ooler, it's airplane mode all night. The only time it turns on is going to be on Bluetooth when you hold down the power button and actually connect it to your app. Once you're done, the indicator light will go off. It'll be off and it won't connect. You can't even try to connect. You can't find it until you manually turn that power mode back on through the firmware. In terms of EMF, if you want an EMF-free environment, you're going to have a big advantage with the Ooler itself, because you just can't turn it off with the 8 Sleep. This is a sleeping technology. Why is it emitting EMF at night? I don't know. I guess they don't really worry too much about it there, but I think there's enough information out there where it's something we should be mindful of, and if we can eliminate it, why not? Number 7 is maintenance and longevity. Both of these products come with a 2-year limited warranty, and it's non-transferable, so it's only for the original owner on the date of receipt of the product. But it's a good 2 years. I think the products themselves are well made. You're not going to have a lot of issues with either of them. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the 8 Sleep Pod Pro and how the inside of the actual pod unit is built, but overall the build quality of both of them is quite well. With Ooler, it's pretty simple. You just have that topper, and then you have these cube units, the Ooler units themselves, and they might go out, they might not, but over time, I'm sure people get them replaced from time to time. And 2 years is a great time to, it's a good amount of time. It's a good amount of hours when you're running these things every night for 2 years. So in summary, off of all these 7 criteria that I've broken down, what is my opinion on which one you should go for? Well, I think it depends. And I think the 2 big deal breakers for me, or the big kind of deciding factors for you, are gonna be, do you care about EMF? Because if you care about EMF, you just can't get around that with the 8 Sleep right now. And if that's a big deal for you, I wouldn't even worry, and I would say just go for the Ooler Sleep System, because that's not an issue with the Ooler, but it is an issue with the 8 Sleep. Number 2, as far as the topper thickness, if you spent a lot of money and invested a lot of money in your mattress surface and you really like the way it feels, you may notice a little bit of a softness, a little bit of a foam impact with the 8 Sleep more than the actual new mesh topper you get with the Ooler Sleep System. So again, if you don't want your mattress to be altered at all, you're better off going with the Ooler, because the 8 Sleep is going to add a bit more of a cushion. There's more stuff underneath there, probably for the technology and the design, and that's just kind of what you get with that product. The third point I would mention is if noise is a big deal for you. So if you don't like white noise, you don't want to hear those fans, 8 Sleep is going to be better for you, because 8 Sleep is whisper quiet in comparison to the Ooler. You're going to have white noise fans at a low volume, and they're going to be running all throughout the night. For me, it doesn't matter. I wear earplugs, and for years I've slept with white noise machines, and they've helped me greatly in terms of just being able to not be disturbed by other noises in the background, kind of blending them out. If those first 2 aren't deal breakers for you, meaning EMF and the mattress surface aren't deal breakers, then I would say the 8 Sleep is whisper quiet, and it's probably a better made product overall. I mean, you're paying a little bit more for it, but you get a lot of features. You get the sleep tracking. It does have Wii mode, so you can add a partner. It'll even track their stuff, their heart rate, their respiratory rate, all of their sort of metrics. You can control both sides of the bed topper. It has that split mode, so you're not missing any of those features of the actual core function that you want. And it's a little easier. There's no physical requirement with 8 Sleep. You just go over you don't have to do anything. You set a schedule every week or whenever you want, and it just runs on that schedule. So whatever time you want to wake up, it kind of sets it for waking up and warming you up then. Whatever time you want it to go to bed, it's gonna prep it an hour prior and just cool it down at that point. I think lastly, ease of use, right? If you don't use the product, or you forget to turn it on, or you maybe just, you like the clean profile function and form of the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover, I say go for it. It's sexier. At the bottom of your bed, you don't have these big cubes laying around with a bunch of cables, and it's a little cleaner look and function. So in that respect, I really do like the 8 Sleep Pod Pro a lot. Now, for me personally, I'm gonna be retesting the Ooler now that I've been on the 8 Sleep Pod Pro the last month, and I'm gonna be trying that back out. I think a lot of times you test drive one car, you go test drive another, and then if you have to go back and retest drive the first car, then you can kind of get the best of the best in terms of decision making. But I'm kind of on the fence. I see some of these deal breakers, and it makes it really hard for me to switch to the 8 Sleep. I want to move all the way to the 8 Sleep because of how quiet and sexy it is, and easy to use and more integrated it is. But at the same time, I think some of those features come with the issues that I have more concern about around EMF, topper thickness, and I already have sleep tracking. I know what I'm getting from my Aura. I can control the temperature on my device throughout the night, and EMF is a big deal for me. So I'll leave you all with that. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I think the good news is no matter what, both of these products are great. You can't go wrong. So whatever you buy, you're gonna be happy, and it's not gonna be a big deal. It just comes down to kind of what these factors play best for you and your partner or yourself. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Have you tried these products? What are your thoughts on these criteria? Do you see them as deal breakers? Do you see certain things there? And if you have questions, I'll try to look for kind of your questions and share my thoughts if I haven't covered them in this video or any of the review videos that we've done. Happy to provide more information there. And if you like the video, hit that like button. It supports the channel. Please consider subscribing as well if you also like some of our other content, because that supports the channel. And until next time, let's get optimized, and thank you so much for watching.